In fact, you must sweep streets like Beethoven composed music. Sweep streets, he said, like Shakespeare wrote poetry. Sweep streets like Raphael painted pictures. Sweep streets so well that all the hosts of the heavens and earth would have to pause and say, here lived the great street sweeper that did his job well. On June 25th, because he was the best, I believe heaven and earth did pause indeed to say of Michael Joseph Jackson, here lived a great entertainer who did his job well.
To the Jackson family, being a part of a world-renowned family who has also experienced a sudden death on more than one occasion, my prayer is that no one and nothing, public or private, fact or fiction, true or rumored, will separate you from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it is only God's love that will anchor you, sustain you, and move you to a higher ground, far above the noise of life. There you will find the peace, comfort, and joy to move forward to advance Michael's legacy. And for all of us, it is apparent that, like our father and mother, Martin and Coretta King, Michael's life and work was inspired by the love of God. Throughout the ages, few are chosen from amongst us to use their gifts and talents to demonstrate God's love in an effort to bring the world together in true sister and brotherhood. Michael was such a one. He epitomized the words of our Father that an individual hasn't started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of humanity. Michael was always concerned with others, with humanity. And I want the world to know that despite being embroiled in accusations and persecution, as a humanitarian, he thought it not robbery to concern himself with this world, with one of this world's other greatest humanitarians, our mother, during her illness just 3 months before her death. In October 2005, I was with Mom when Michael called her all the way from the Middle East. And although she couldn't speak because of a debilitating stroke, she listened as he said to her that he had been praying on his knees every day for her. That to him, she was America's true royalty. And he wanted her to know if music was being played in her room because of its healing effect. My only wish is that he could have seen the glow on her face. If faces could smile, as we know they do, that day, Michael Jackson made our mother's face smile in spite of her condition. What an unforgettable moment. He was such a thoughtful and selfless man, full of the unconditional love of God and good works that touched and changed lives. He was indeed a shining light, like our father Martin. And in remembrance of Michael, may we all be inspired to go and let our lights shine. Rest in peace, our brother Michael.
Das waren gerade die Kinder von Martin Luther King, Bernice und Martin Luther King III, die eine bewegende Rede hielten und auch nochmal daran erinnerten, wie Michael Jackson vor kurzem noch von der Mutter der beiden bewegend Abschied genommen hat und sie nochmal angerufen hatte in einem Krankenfall.
Liebes Deluxe Music Team, ich komme aus Kosovo und in der Zeit, als die Kriege das Leben in Kosovo beherrschten, hatte mir Michaels Musik Hoffnung und Mut gegeben. Ich habe durch Michael Kraft für einen Neuanfang bekommen und seine Musik hat mich als Musiker inspiriert. Eine Mail von Bellerim Asiasi.
But I come to you on behalf of the many members of the United States House of Representatives. I come to you on behalf of the Congressional Black Caucus, Chairwoman Barbara Lee, a Californian. And I come to you as every man and every woman, for I cannot write music or dance or sing, but I do know an American story. And to Mr. and Mrs. Jackson and this wonderful family of brothers and sisters and cousins, to Michael Joseph and to Catherine Paris and to Prince, all of these wonderful, beautiful symbols of America. And I can tell you, as a member of the United States Congress, we understand the Constitution, we understand laws, and we know that people are innocent until proven otherwise. That is what the Constitution stands for. So I mourn today. I come to thank you. For many people don't understand the hearts of entertainers. They don't know how big their hearts are. They don't know how they heal the world on behalf of America. When we're at war, our icons like Michael sing about healing the world. And so he called us into public service. It did not matter whether we were black or white. He even told us to beat the violence, and look at yourself in the mirror, because it meant that if you were going to make a difference, look at the man or woman in the mirror. I come to you today to say thank you. Some of you come from all faiths, and we respect that here in America. But there is a story whose theme is so symbolic of this young and beautiful man. I love the story of the Good Samaritan because it talks about those who walk by the diminished, the devastated, and the poor. This was a broken and beaten man laying along a road. No one stopped, but someone called the Samaritan. It could be in any faith. It's all about charity and love. And I call Michael Jackson the Good Samaritan. I call him Michael Jackson, who cared and loved for the world. It bothered me. I grew up with him, as all of us, and so many did. And so what an honor and a privilege to see him up close. When he came to the United States Congress in my office and looked some 15 African ambassadors, representatives of heads of state, sitting in an office listening to Michael Jackson talk about caring and fighting HIV/AIDS. They looked at him. He had a twinkle. They listened. He listened. What a miraculous experience to be able to listen and see Michael in action. You know, there were words cast about, but I wonder if anybody was on his shoulder when he walked into Walter Reed Hospital, and he walked along the aisles and the rows in the hospital rooms. This was in the midst of the Iraq War. Doctors stopped and nurses stopped, and individual soldiers who had lost limbs stopped and were in essence moved and touched, as Michael was, by his desire to come and thank them for their sacrifice. So don't tell me what an American story is all about. It is the salt of the earth. When this family took the talent that God had given them and made it into a miraculous and wonderful story for America. I come today for you to recognize that the flag flies, and the people who have spoken to the people's house. They recognize and they speak